Hi, everybody. I'm Jesse Ziegler.
And I'm Quinn Cody.
And this is the Dakar Rally Daily, brought to you by Climb for Stage 3 of the 2025 Dakar Rally in Saudi Arabia. And we're out of the, 48-hour chrono stage? I hope I don't have to say that again.
Yeah, I think we're done with the chrono for a while.
That was a lot of work for us sitting in this cozy office with cups of coffee.
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was. Today, Stage 3, we talked about it yesterday on the show, was shortened about 170 kilometers from the planned 500K due to some rain and damaging stuff out there for the course. But we also kind of hypothesized that maybe they were doing that to try to catch up on some logistics because there was basically 50 guys sitting out in the desert the night before.
Yeah, there was a lot of people still out on course, came in late, and you know, when they have to start another 500 kilometer stage, it makes it difficult for everyone. I think there was some weather, but at the same time, yeah, that they wanted to kind of catch up on some, you know, housekeeping, I guess you could say, before they start the marathon stage.
And that makes sense. This is a big moving operation. There's leapfrogging bivouacs and people setting up tent cities out in the middle of nowhere, and not even tent city, they're ex-city cities. And hey, like kudos to the organization for still pulling this race off every year. We love it.
Yeah, a massive undertaking.
Yeah. The results today, pretty awesome day for a lot of people out there. A little bit of time loss for the lead contenders and some shakeup. Quinn, what happened out there that's noteworthy for you? I
mean, you know, this was our first kind of true Dakar stage, right? The winner of stage 2 had to lead out, and looks like there was some difficult navigation, and it caught Daniel Sanders out a bit. He lost a fair bit of time. A lot of that time that he had worked hard to gain in these first 2 stages, was taken away.
Excuse me. Yeah, he put the hammer down, and it looked like he could run away with this race early, which that's a fool's thought, right? In Dakar Rally, if you're an amateur like me, you think, oh, he's going to run away from it. But this race catches up to you in one day, and wow, what a great day for Lorenzo Santolino and the Sherco factory team.
Big surprise winner today. You could have asked me, I would have played this result out 100 different ways, and I don't think I would have had Lorenzo Santolino as the stage winner. But
yeah, neither of us picked him for sure.
He's been riding really well, and you know, kind of maintained up near the front of the race, and so knocked off his first stage win and first stage win for Sherco in some time.
Yeah, shout out to Sherco. Great job after losing, their Indian sensation Harith Noah earlier. And I mean, in the prologue, that poor guy went out with a broken wrist, so their team was down one guy. Now Lorenzo came in with the stage win right in front of Ricky Brabeck. So Ricky had a good comeback today. He is only 4 minutes off in the stage. And then right behind him, Skyler Howes, which is probably the most noteworthy finish of today, that he finished third on the stage today, 4:10 behind the leader. But the cool thing about that is Skyler started like second or third yesterday.
Yeah.
Today, sorry.
Yeah, I think Skyler was up near the front. I think they caught Sanders pretty quickly, and it was him and Sharina, and Sanders kind of
leading out,
and I think it was pretty difficult from what we can gather. And Skyler did a really good job, and this moved him up in the overall, and he's now looking really strong.
Yeah, really smart riding by Skyler. We actually have Skyler update. He's sending us a voice note right now, so we'll get to that as soon as it comes in. Third place, Skyler Howes. He ended up grabbing 2 minutes and 48 seconds of bonus time by catching up front and leading out. Ross Branch on the hero right behind him, consistent. He's only 4 seconds behind Skyler in fourth place, and as you can tell already, the gap's tightened.
I mean, this second, third, fourth position really is within 13 seconds.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's super tight on a stage like this. And then Luciano Benavides in, still less than a minute back in fifth place.
Yeah, so total gap time on the stage today was 5 minutes between first and fifth place.
Yep.
So really tight day, which means the overall classification times are probably tightening up too, but we'll get to those in a minute.
Yeah. And, in sixth, veteran Stefan Svitko.
Yeah, Svitko's back. We love talking about him, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's been around for a really long time, and he was only 5 minutes off the lead, and still within a minute of this second, third, fourth group.
Oh, what a day, man! Pablo Quintanilla came in 5 minutes 19 behind the leader. Then Edgar Canet, the rookie, 19-year-old sensation on the Factory KTM team, 5:31 back. Mishek, he's another GP racer in 9th, 6:42. And then Tobias Ebster, last year's Moto Mali original by Motul winner, he's 6:53 back on the day, and that's your top 10. So top 10 separated by 6 minutes and 53 seconds.
Yeah.
Only person in that top section that got bonus time today is Skyler Howes. That tells you how hard the navigation became for, the guys that were leading the stage today.
Yeah, definitely. And, Santolino, he got that 4-minute gap somewhere in there, and really from 2nd to 10th, I mean, it's tight. It's only a couple minutes.
Yeah, they're stacked.
So they're all piled up in there. Wasn't massive time loss. One guy that kind of got the short end of the deal here, it looks like, is Brad Cox.
Right.
He was up front. He was really, really close to taking the stage win, and looks like he got about a 6-minute speeding penalty.
Yeah, I think him and Santolino were really battling it out, on the clock out there. And man, just got hit with that 6-minute penalty. So he would have been in second place, only a minute 20 back if he wouldn't have got that penalty. And who knows what else would have happened. But
woulda, coulda, yeah.
Yeah, great race by Mr. Cox.
Yep. And so, the two guys that really kind of got the short end of the deal here is Tasha Sharina. Mm-hmm. He was back in 17th place, 10:18 off.
Yep.
And then Daniel Sanders, our overall leader, he still maintains the overall lead, but that gap has shrunk by quite a lot. And he was 14:49 off the lead, and he collected 4 minutes and 20 seconds of bonus time.
So that's the indication that he's really been out front most of the day, pushing hard, and the navigation was tricky enough to give these other guys an advantage behind him.
Yep.
Overall wise, our ranking has shaken up a little bit with Daniel Sanders still in the front. They've been racing for 20 hours and 9 minutes right now at this point. And Skyler Howes, American on the HRC, Monster Energy HRC Honda team, he's only a minute 57 back in second place now, which is epic. Ross Branch on that Hero Motorsports bike, 2 minutes back. So that top three, they're separated by 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome.
No, I mean, this is, like I said before, this group of 3-4 riders is really strong. Ricky Brabeck was able to claw back some time. He's only 4:21 back, just off the podium.
Yeah, great for Ricky. I bet he feels a little better after his time lost the day before. And we didn't get it covered on the show because the information came in late, but Ricky actually smashed the exhaust header pipe under his bike at some point pretty early in the second half of the 48-hour chrono stage yesterday. And it really just choked his HRC rally bike up, and he couldn't keep up the pace. So he lost a bunch of time, 10, 12 minutes or something.
Yep.
And if you remember the previous day where they stopped for the rest, he was only 40 seconds out of the lead. So he was pretty frustrated at the end of the day yesterday. But man, he had a great day today to get some of that back.
This is how it can swing back and forth. And what happened with Ricky's header pipe is these rally bikes, they have a low pipe to make room for the fuel tanks. Basically. They can't have a normal high pipe like a motocross bike. So they run down under the foot peg, and then they have a skid plate, like a carbon fiber skid plate on there, but it's not a super substantial, just kind of keeps some protection for the engine and the frame. And so if you come into a ditch too hard or something, especially you're running low, if you have a full load of fuel, and you hit a rock just right, it'll flatten that header pipe out. And pretty much all of the top bikes are kind of designed the same, and so these it's quite common for that pipe to get squashed. But Ricky's was pretty flat, and then you have to worry about damaging the engine. You're running it too hard, and it's a lot of heat coming out of the engine, and it can't get out, right? It's crushed down, so the engine's going to run a little bit hotter. And that they have O2 sensors and stuff that will compensate slightly for it, but still, you have to think about that.
Yeah, I bet he was thinking about it for how many hours he was riding that choked up bike all day yesterday, just fuming. Yep. Probably pissed off. You don't want to piss off Ricky. It's one thing I know about rally. Don't piss off Ricky Brabeck.
No, but at the same time, you can't get too frustrated because things can flip around, and he's right back. He's right back where he needs to be today. So if you lose your temper too soon with something like that, then next day it's completely different.
Yeah, it's true. So after Ricky, 421 in general classification standings, we have Tasha Sharina. He's 817 back, so our gap opens up the 8-minute range back to 5th place overall. Luciano Benavides, he's 1237 back in 6th place now. Pablo Quintanilla, 1542 back in 7th place. 8th place is Adrian Van Beveren. He's 1624 back. And 9th place is Nacho Cornejo, 41 minutes and 18 seconds back. That's where the gap starts, right?
Yep. Starts to spread out. We get to that kind of 40-minute spot.
Cool spot. Number 10, though, Lorenzo Santolino with that stage win and putting that 4 minutes on everybody today. He crept into the top 10, and he's 42.18. He's only a minute behind Nacho, so he's got a pretty good spot in that top 10, but that's not going to be easy for him to keep. Edgar Canet is right behind him. He's only a couple minutes behind than Brad Cox, who he's battling with today. Right behind him, Michael Doherty. I mean, this 10th spot, people trying to break into that top 10 is going to be a big race.
Yeah, definitely. You see Canet and Cox, they're within 2 minutes of each other. They both have about 6 minutes of penalties.
Yeah.
So the young guys, battling it out on penalties. And that's also, the Rally 2 classification is super tight back there. So.
Yeah, that's basically where the Rally 2 comes in with Canet leading. And then Doherty, Ebster right behind them. So very cool to get this top 10. But I think we got that Skyler Howes quote. We're going to play that right now so we can get a little insight into what happened today out there, because it sounds like it got a little spicy.
Yeah.
Yo, today was stage 3, which is weird to say because we rode for 2 days yesterday, but that only counted as one stage, the chrono stage. Anyways, stage 3 was shortened. It was supposed to be 500 kilometers long, but the second half, well, I guess 3/4 of the stage was rained out, and so they cut probably like close to 200 kilometers out of the stage because of rain and weather. The stage started out with like this gnarly lava rock stuff. It's just pretty much straight lava rock, and then when it wasn't rocks, it was silt. So it was tough to navigate because you're trying to focus on where you're going and trying not to die in the rocks, and then you also have to look at your road book, so that's pretty difficult. The navigation was kind of tricky also, and as soon as we got it out of that at like kilometer 100, we got into the wet dirt, which was sick. The conditions were awesome, like still sunny skies, and then once we were into that wet dirt, like traction was just so good. But the rain washed away the tracks, so we can still kind of see a faint car track from the opener. Like 5 weeks ago, we can still see a faint track sometimes. And so, we kind of get a little bit of a verification on the correct track just because we can see if it's a little bit more traveled or not. But once we got into this plateau, it was just like a blank slate. There was no tracks anywhere. And all the existing trails or roads out there are really faint because the rain kind of washed them away, or at least just blended them all in. So Chucky had got a little bit turned around and, wasn't really on the right track. And when I showed up, I was like, all right, well, it's going to be really difficult anyway, so let's just go at the caps. So we went at the caps. We ended up figuring it out. And then Tasha caught up to us, and we all rode together. And the navigation stayed like that. We were just in this big, open plateau. And, we just kind of had to wander around until one of us found the right way. And then we kind of tail back in behind them. And then we got into the sandy track stuff. And it was really, really twisty and tight, and it slowed the pace way down. And because we're opening, there's still, again, the car opener tracks kind of got washed away, so there was really no verification that we were going the right way. And Tasha got a little bit turned around. He was opening at the time, and Chucky's tablet and navigation equipment was kind of faulty, and so was mine. my cap heading was frozen, so I couldn't really tell which direction I was going. And then I got lucky that it just kind of unfroze, and Tasha and Chucky, Chucky was just following Tasha at this point because his road book was all jacked up. So he followed Tasha the wrong direction, and I just got lucky and ended up going around the next little knoll and found the right track and opened up a waypoint, and just kind of laid the hammer down and tried to do the best I could of doing perfect navigation at full speed, to capitalize from their mistake. So I opened and led into the finish, which gave me a pretty massive boost in the overall times. I'm still sitting second overall, behind Chucky, but I cut like 11 minutes out of the time deficit there. So, I mean, obviously still stage 3 and still, like a week and a half of racing, but, it just goes to show how crazy this race can be. You can go from winning like 4 days in a row to, getting lost and the whole entire lead gets thrown away. So yeah, my whole plan is to just stick to my same program. I'm not really riding fast enough to like blow anyone's doors off, but I'm just trying to do a perfect job of the navigation and minimize the mistakes and stuff. And I think if I can just continue on that path and minimize mistakes and do a good job on the nav, then we'll see how it goes at the end of the stage. A lot of these guys are really going fast out there, but I just want to do a good job with all the stuff that I can control. So that's how she goes. And the marathon stage, we're going farther north up to Alula and into Hale, which I really like this zone a lot. The navigation gets tricky up there, but the dirt is like St. George, and it's like that red sand, and we get into those super beautiful rock formations and crazy areas up there. But hopefully the weather it plays nice with us, and conditions stay fine. But yeah, I think marathon stage is going to be awesome. All right, long voice note, but I hope that works out. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Skyler. Awesome for you to take the time,
Yeah.
as always, and give us a in-depth update. What did you hear there from Skyler with the shenanigans that went down out there?
Yeah, there's a couple of things there. First off, it sounds like they had some difficult navigation. The the other thing is we're starting to see some glitches with this digital roadbook.
Yeah. Right, we were concerned about that a little bit, but I wonder what we're going to see come out of that, if anything, as far as.
It's hard to say what you're going to see, right? Everybody's kind of dealing with it, and God, what a disaster to have your race affected by a glitch with a piece of digital equipment, right? As long as you have the old paper roadbook, right? Then okay, if your wiring malfunctions, you might have to advance it by hand, but you always have something. But if the thing freezes up on you, you're stuck, right? You got to just follow.
Dude, yeah. Or the cap heading. Is the cap heading equipment built into the tablet? Is it all one unit now? I believe it is.
Yeah, I believe now that they have, cap heading on the top of the tablet. So yeah, it's kind of one unit. And, in the old days, there was the ERTF GPS that, ran a cap repeater. And those would have glitches from time to time. I mean, there was a time when we went from using basically what they called an ICO, which is a wheel speed calculated odometer. Mm-hmm. And they went from that to the GPS odometer. And the GPS odometer was a lot more accurate, but you always had the possibility of a failure with the GPS, and then you lose your odometer. So they kept a manual, ICO on the handlebar just in case, for redundancy.
Right.
So now we're going from, the GPS to, it's still GPS based, but to this digital roadbook. And, I think there's going to be some growing pains there. Unfortunately, there's no real redundancy for the digital roadbook. So, just hope that they get things sorted out.
Yeah. And hopefully, we don't see it decide the race.
Yeah.
That's what I don't want to see, because the racing is getting tight. We don't want that sort of to be the one thing that Just take somebody's race away from them or give somebody the race.
But some really good insight from Skyler into the difficulty of the navigation and, them having to just kind of go on cap headings and, hope that things line up.
Yeah. And he's alluding to the marathon stage coming up. It's going into some terrain that he's really familiar with, being from the St. George, Utah area. And well, sounds positive, sounds strong, and it doesn't look good for all the competition right now.
No. We had some interviews from the Hero team from Ross Branch.
Yeah, let's check in with the Hero guys and see what's going on in Hero land.
Hey guys, so that's stage 3 over and done with, and it was quite fun. This morning was really rocky. Our battle to keep the bike under control was all over the place, but I had a good time and came across Adrian at kilometer 50. He had a crash. I'm glad he's okay, but then after that we kind of rode together until the finish. But it was a good day. Some tricky navigation that caught us out a few times, but it was the same for everybody, and happy to be in the position I am.
There goes Ross coming in hot with the insight. Looks like Adrian Van Beveren had a little crash out there, but thankfully he's okay.
Yeah.
And made it to the finish.
Ross is always happy to be at the finish. So
he is. Do you think Ross would be happy if he spent the night in the sand like so many competitors did the night before?
Yeah. I don't know. We got a little clip from a guy who was one of those that we had talked about, one of those 50 guys that spent the night in the desert outside of a bivouac, and was dealing with some technical issues. And this is pretty impressive story here from a young man.
Yeah, this is Justin Gerlach. He is still on the course from what we can tell now from stage 3, but that's understandable once you hear his story of how his 48-hour chrono stage went. And here he is.
I thought it would never end. Yesterday at kilometer 200 I had a gearbox issue, so I only had the second gear. And then I went on until kilometer 400 at the refuel. I didn't even make it to the first camp. And then we had a very nice sitting together. There were a lot of riders, but I knew that I had a lot of way on the next day, like 550 kilometers. And only with the second gear there was like no point in doing it, so we opened up the clutch, took the whole clutch out. I borrowed some tools from some cars, and then we fixed the shifting star, and then I had 3 to 6, and which was good for the fast tracks, but in the very sandy soft dunes in third gear it was so exhausting because I just had to jump in them to keep on the gas. And it was I thought this day would never end, and then when I started from the camp this night, this morning, I had an oil leak, so I had to stop and open the clutch again and fix the O-ring and then put it back together, and then I lost oil, and then I was taking it easy until I found someone who gave me oil, and then I have done it. Tomorrow again.
Tomorrow again. That's probably the best 30 seconds of content from the race so far, as far as giving you an insight into just what happened and all the things he had to deal with just to keep going. And he didn't even make it 200 kilometers. He made it 200K, then he had second gear only. Then he rode another 200K in second gear.
Yeah.
Before he started working on his
And
bike.
then he still had another 500 to go the following day with only, third to sixth.
That he modified next to a refueling tank somewhere.
Yeah,
to make his 3 to 6 work.
This is the true spirit of Dakar right here. It's the privateer guys out here that are, tearing their bikes down in the middle of the night, sleeping in the desert,
awesome,
getting things going, and he's still in the race, unbelievably. I hope he gets through stage 3 today, and he can continue on, because man, what a warrior.
What a warrior. He's got to get back to that bivouac and get some dinner. That's for sure. Oh man, what a great guy. He's on the Dust Co team. You can follow Dust, DUUST.co on Instagram, and you'll hear more from him probably as the race goes on. Shout out to Justin. You're crushing it.
Yep. Good stuff. So I think, a couple guys who, are further back in the standings here that we're kind of keeping an eye on. One, Kevin Benavides on the Red Bull Factory KTM.
Right.
He lost, quite a bit more time. I think another 30, 40 minutes today. He's about 2 hours off of the lead. So, Kevin continuing to kind of, I think, struggle from the effects of that crash that he had, earlier this year. But, he's there and he's getting it in. Yep.
It looks like he's riding in a lot of pain and probably just out there trying to get done and maybe be a support rider of some sorts to the guys up front.
Yep. And then Mason Klein, sounds like Mason had a real rough chrono stage.
He did.
Sounded like had some issues with the chain, issues with the clutch, motor issues. I think he ended up getting towed in at the end of the stage. So, real tough deal for Mason. And unfortunately, a lot of work to go through to get to a race like this and then have these issues so early on. So all we can hope is Mason gets that bike back up and running and he can survive this marathon stage, get to rest day, and, hopefully they can regroup and give him at least a decent second half of the rally.
Yeah, he did have to do an engine swap according to our people on the ground. So whatever happened to his clutch, killed his engine completely. And I think he got towed in for a long ways, which was nice of somebody to stop and tow a guy.
Yeah.
Again, another Justin story, right?
Yeah. I mean, you're putting your own rally at risk to get to tow someone else in. Yeah, so that's a really,
good spirit of the race out there.
Definitely.
Thanks, everybody. Overall, what's going to happen tomorrow? Tomorrow is the start of stage 4, but also the first half of a marathon stage, which is 2 days long. It's 2 separate stages. It's not one combined stage. But the bike competitors have to go into a pit bivouac, remote bivouac, and then they only have an hour and a half to work on their bike, sort of like an ISD style off-road race where you come in, you get a certain amount of time to work on your bike, do everything you can, then it gets impounded, basically, correct?
Yeah. Yep. So looks like 588 kilometers total tomorrow. 415 of that are special stage. So it's, I would say a, really long, tough special.
Yeah.
Like Jesse said, they'll basically give them a service time. The guys can do some service to their bike, make sure everything's good. I know that they're marking the wheels, so they're not allowed to switch wheels between competitors. So if one of the top guys has a problem, he can't trade a wheel with another competitor. So they have to start with the same wheel that they finish on. So. Or finish with the same wheel they started on.
Yeah, right.
So that I think that'll be in their minds a little bit, right, in the rocks and stuff, because it's pretty easy to destroy a front wheel on these rally bikes, hammering through the rocks. So something that they got to think about. Similar to like what we saw with Ricky, where he smashed the header pipe. You do something like that, and you're stuck. So maybe they have to think about conservation a little bit. Because the second half of this the second half of this marathon is another 428 kilometer special.
There's no coasting in these 2 days to just get to the finish. You have to push and but take care of your equipment. Like you have to maybe not spin out as much with the rear tire because your tire has to last the whole time.
Yeah, you got to go 2 days on a tire. Got to make the mousse last. Got to make the rims last. Not crash the bike, not damage the bike. So.
And our starting order is going to be tricky for some of these guys that made up some time today because Ricky's going to be starting second, and then Skyler's going to be starting third. Ross is going to be starting fourth. Like they're not. Yeah, they're in the danger zone. They're going to have a target on their back for people like Daniel, who's starting a bit further back, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think Sanders is starting in 21st or something like that. So
gobble up
he'll be able to gobble people up. I mean, he's going to have to deal with dust. Santolino is going to be opening the stage. Ricky will be there right behind him. So these guys are going to get some bonus time, but they're also going to have the kind of penalty of having to open the stage, and hopefully they can navigate well, and it's going to be another interesting day.
Yeah. Do you got a pick for a winner for stage 4 in your mind? Is it going to be Daniel Sanders? Let me guess.
I mean, yeah, I would kind of have to bet on Daniel Sanders based on what we've seen from him so far. He's going to be coming from the back and, you know, have tracks and have all that difficult navigation already kind of checked off for him. Mm-hmm. So as long as he avoids any issues, I think he's going to be really strong.
I think Tasha could come in and win from where he's at too. He's got that outright speed to go up, and you know, I think it could be a Honda or a KTM up there. I think it's going to be those two. I don't think Ross Branch is going to win from fourth on the Hero.
Yeah, I mean it'll be difficult, but you never know, right? Somebody can have issues. I know Adrian Van Beverens, he's starting in 11th, so he's another possibility.
Yep.
But I mean, what we've seen from Sanders so far, I don't think anybody's going to, you know, outride him unless he kind of backs off a little bit to try to have maybe a little bit of strategy going into the rest day.
Awesome. Well, what else do we need to talk about today's show? Did we cover everything? We didn't cover a lot of car people because we're running out of time.
Yeah. I mean, I think Toby Price was soldiering along. Sounded like they had some overheating issues. So maybe they, you know, didn't get the best result today. I think they're somewhere around 18th, but you know, they're still getting it done.
Notable in the ultimate car category, a new record was broken after the previous record was broken 2 days ago. American Seth Quintero broke the record for youngest stage winner in ultimate car category at the age of 22, but that only lasted like 2 days. And now Vari Awa, I don't think I say his name right, he's South African. He just broke the record today by winning stage 3, and he's 19. So he's racing a class 1 top level car, and he just won the stage.
Young blood in there, and you know, the old veteran Carlos Sainz is out of the race.
Yeah, maybe a changing of the guard out there in the car world.
Yeah, so you know, you see, I think Carlos, we saw him roll his car on the chrono stage, and it sounds like there was some damage to the roll cage. According to Carlos, they could have easily fixed it. The FIA wouldn't allow them to fix it. They said it wasn't repairable or whatnot. So basically made them step out of the race.
Yeah, he didn't have a chance to fix it and get into the race. So that's how it is.
Unfortunate for that Ford team. I mean, there's still a lot of money invested and you know, to have it go out on something that could possibly have been repaired and, you know, been able to continue. So
got it. Cool.
But this is how it goes.
This is how it goes. Shout out to Climb, obviously, for being our title sponsor at the Dakar Rally Daily. Climb's got a lot of new stuff out there. Check them out at Climb Motorcycle on YouTube, Climb Motorcycle on Instagram, and obviously climb.com on the website. Rally Navigator, anybody, Jimmy Lewis called me yesterday. He said, anybody that knows anything and anybody that's cool that's ever done a road book started in Rally Navigator. The coolest thing to do, if you want to be cool, go build road books. Nothing cooler than being a super nerd and building GPS-based road books.
Yeah, this is true. You can spend hours on the computer, darking out in your basement.
Nothing cooler than being a dork in a basement. Baja Rally, couple things coming up on Baja Rally. Get in, get your entries, go to BajaRallyMoto.com, get in there, and you can use your Rally Navigator biz to build your Baja Rally experience so you're a better racer when you get to the Baja Rally. Another thing, High Desert Adventures came on board. I talked to Ace yesterday. It was great to check up with Ace Nilsson, former competitor at the Dakar Rally that went out in a stage a couple years ago when all the Americans were down there. Ace and his High Desert Adventures has a couple packages that you're going to be interested in if you're going to do any of these North American rallies. First of all, they have a Tecate to Cabo ride, like a guided ride, starting in February. Go to highdesertadventures.com, check that out. But they also do race support for Sonora Rally, race support for the Nora Mexican 1000, and race support for the Baja Rally. So if you're thinking of doing these races, but you don't have logistics and you're going to fly in and rent a bike or something like that, Ace is a good guy to call and maybe be like, hey man, can you help me out? What's the package cost? I need some pit support, fueling, tires, that kind of stuff. So good to see up that. And, you know, that's what you should do. Get some help. This is a community thing. We saw people getting help today. People are getting help out there all the time. So go out there and get some help. Perfect. Use, throw some double take mirrors on your bike. Cool comment I got on YouTube was, hey, I didn't know double take mirrors had a lifetime warranty. I broke one of the mounts on mine like 2 years ago, and I just called them today, and they're like, yeah, no problem. We'll fix you up. So shout out to that. Great job, everybody. And yeah, Nora Mexico 1000. The comment on Nora Mexico 1000 is the happiest race on earth.
Sounds good. I think that's my kind of race. We need to go hit that up.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much. We got some
questions or
Quinn and answer section. Yeah, I got Quinn and answer for you. I almost let you get off of that.
Yep.
Number one, question burning on everybody's mind. Where did the quads go, Quinn?
I think basically the quads just evolved into side-by-sides. I think just kind of like the rest of the ATV market, all the quads evaporated. No, I mean, I think, the quad entry since leaving South America kind of dwindled. And, it was to the point where, there was only a couple entries last year. And, I think cost-wise, it's really expensive to do on a quad. And, I think the side-by-side thing was gathering steam, so they just decided to eliminate the quad category for now. And, there's no shortage of entries at this point. We have so many motorcycles and side-by-sides and four-wheel vehicles that not really any room for a quad category.
All right. Well, that's a decent answer. The other answer is, why are you so sad in the video all the time?
I got to deal with Jesse every morning. 6 a.m. I mean, I get up and I don't even see my kids. They come in and sit here and look at Jesse. So you'd be sad too.
Yeah, you'd be sad if you had to stare at me pushing these buttons all day. The real question, good question, is what do you know, Quinn, about what used to be Speedbrain? Speedbrain was a team rising up in your prime.
Yep.
And where'd they come from? Who are they? What happened to them? Speedbrain was a German-based Husqvarna back team back in the day.
Yeah, so I mean, this Speedbrain team has been around for a really long time, since the days of BMW twin cylinder racing.
Yes.
So like Jimmy Lewis days.
Ooh, that is old.
Wolfgang Fischer has been a part of that team, and they ran the BMW rally team, the factory rally team. There was a few years that BMW was actually on their 450 rally bike. And they're kind of a outside contractor outside of Munich that ran stuff for BMW. Then it switched to Husqvarna. Husqvarna, they ran the Speedbrain Husqvarna for a couple of years. Then when Husqvarna was purchased by KTM, they started their own rally team, which was Speedbrain, which ran for a couple years. They had Beretta and Goncalves and some guys, and then they were actually hired to run the Factory Honda team. So Factory Honda team was run for 2 or 3 years by Speedbrain outside of Honda. Then that deal kind of came to an end. Honda brought that more in-house back into Spain. And Hero came along, and Hero wanted to do a, basically, factory rally effort. And so Speedbrain was again funded to develop a rally bike for Hero. And they ran the old Husqvarna engine and chassis for a couple of years, and then they were able to develop a new engine. So they're running on their own engine developed in Germany, and cool. Their own chassis. It's very similar to kind of the old KTM chassis. And so the bike is completely purpose built in Germany, and these guys do a really good job of everything. And I think, they're pretty well funded from Hero. So they're able to get quite a lot of, work done. And I mean, it shows in the results, right? Ross is up there battling it out. So
he's a world champion.
It's a pretty cool story, long history with that team.
Wow. Cool. Great answer, Quinn. That's why we ask Quinn an answer. It's not Jesse an answer, because Jesse'd be like, I don't know. And you don't want me to say I don't know anymore. Any other questions you got? We wanted to, there's people asking about Sandra Gomez. She's still in the race. She made it through 48-hour chrono good. We'll get more on Sandra Gomez, as we keep going down the race. It's fun to watch her racing out there. People are asking about Andrew Short. He's navigating into Can-Am side-by-side. We'll try to catch up with Andrew too. We didn't catch up with him today, but we'll try to get him to give us a little insight what it's like right in the right seat in one of those buggies across the desert at, high speeds and no windshield in front of you. And then we're going to look forward to this marathon stage.
Yep.
And it's going to be another one of those deciding factors like every other day is out here.
Yeah, we're starting to get into the true rhythm of the Dakar now. We have this, kind of lead out, start from the back, this yo-yo effect that's going to start coming up. So things are gonna get exciting the next couple of days.
I agree. I'm already excited, and I've been fired up about this race since the prologue. So let's keep it rolling. Thank you all for listening. Thanks for the comments coming on Instagram and YouTube, Dakar Rally Daily. This is Cycle News YouTube. Go to cyclenews.com. We actually, first issue of the year is out right now.
Yep.
Cycle News first issue of the year. It's out right now.
It's out.
There's only 49 to go. Go to cyclenews.com/magazine. You can get a free subscription to Cycle News. And it's awesome. And Supercross is this weekend. So it's just going to keep getting more awesome. All right, everybody, we got to go to work again on Tuesday.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Let's do it.
See you later.